happy with me. This is my little espresso cooker. I love it. Oh, I love my new dress. It's so pretty. And it's like viscose, like 70% or so. It feels like linen. It's super soft and flattering. And I like the color actually. I have the color in a little darker, but in this like golden yellow is pretty. But mostly I love the cut too. Like, and it's like a little, it reminds me of the sun, you know. And yeah, and it has an open back, which feels so good. And I love the strength. Like I would sew this for me. Like if I would see this in a magazine for sewing, could make this, which is cool. It's so pretty. Like yeah, and also a little bit sexy, and also very comfy. And I think it looks great without a bra. Like just loose. It's so pretty. And it's also summer sale item, so it was a great price. That's what I love. My body is rested again. I did not sleep well. My body feels rested. Like 10 hours bike is enough. Like I'm done. Like no, I'm good. Thank you. Bye. I love the current H&M dresses. Like they have really cute colors again. I also got a lace inspired beautiful violet-y dress. It's so comfy. And I have another, but that's both is see-through though. It's for the beach. Let's throw over. Yeah. Oh, my ankle is still not happy, especially after biking, but it's much better than yesterday already. So I am chill about it. Guys, do you want to read with me out of the book Magdalene Mysteries from Sarah and Ezra Bertrand? Because they are really good authors, very knowledgeable people. Especially Ezra does do really cool equinox PowerPoint, little mindfulness meditation, lots of great talk. So you always learn loads. This the book that already break on me. That's how often I used to read in it. And yeah, has like old pictures. It does show pictures of old churches. We also have this symbolism of the left hand path of the feminine Christ. Left hand because old earth spirituality says right masculine, left feminine. The same reason in churches, in like traditionally, women sit on the left and men on the right, but that is not strictly the true for every country. I am not 100% agreeing with everything in the book. I think it's a little bit hyping the Magdalene movement, but it is not weird, super knowledgeable, and also description of spiritual practice as well as historical background, so you can study, you can learn. It's obviously not scientific paper, both, like all of their books, they are not scientific papers, but they are great resources, and especially like the Womb Awakening book, because that is profound, that is deep, that is great research, astonishingly amazing structured. Like, yeah, it's such a big, it's hard to write about such a big topic and then structure it in a way that somebody else can really work with it. It's so good and beautiful. Footfalls echo in the memory, down the passage which we did not take, towards the door we never opened into the rose garden. Visions of the Rose. Our journey into the Magdalene Mysteries is first and foremost a vision quest. Like she also says that. It's a spiritual inspiration book. A descent into the unknown, placing ourselves at the mercy of spirit to be humbled, opened, astounded, and initiated by something greater than our minds could imagine. By approaching the presence of Magdalene with this grounded sacred curiosity, with a genuine thirst for from within our hearts, we honor her true spirit and open the doorway to the hidden truth about her teachings. Like any real of the mysteries, Magdalene can never be fully known, contained by the facts, as she impudently wriggles free of any solid definition of who she once was, who she now is, and who she might become, with a wink and a forbidden smile, because of the scant evidence of her life lived over 2,000 years ago. We will never be restricted to one version of her life. Instead, it is constantly expanding into new dimensions. We have the biblical Magdalene of religion, the historical Magdalene of scholars and academics, and the mystical Magdalene of visionaries and oracles. And even these understandings are constantly revised and rebirthed in this living tradition. Yeah. The Gnostic Magdalene, the salvation of Sophia. Through gnosis we are purified. Those who have realized gnosis know the source and the destination. When we expand beyond the canonical New Testament accounts of Magdalene, we start to drink in the essence of what Gnosticism means in its deepest heart. This extract is taken from a Syriac text and almost 2000 years old, 100 before Christ. As you read aloud the words to wash through you like ancient oceans waves. I'm the voice speaking softly. I exist from the first. I dwell within the silence, within the immeasurable silence. I descended from the midst of the underworld, and I shone down upon the darkness. It is I who poured forth the water. I am the one hidden within radiant waters. I am the image of the invisible spirit. I am the womb that gives shape to the all, by giving birth to the light that shines in splendor. It's like really old, spiritual, a little bit religious, inspired poem, for example. And like it is so knowledgeable, and yeah, it's so good to read about it. And this is more about the story of yeah, I would say it's not only about like I would give it another title. It's somebody. It's about priestesses who help you with embodiment. That's what I see this for, and that's what for many people the Magdalene stands for. Which I do not agree that this was her specific training, but what they mean is like they help you embody your Shakti, your aliveness, your ecstaticness, as well as the grief and the pain, and then it's ancient and really deeply held by the earth as well as by traditions. And then Mary Magdalene is a little bit hyping in spiritual eras. This era is a new earth movement, and it's not normal that esoteric stuff is booming this way, because the church is not so popular anymore, because it's strict, and then it was the abuse, and it's old, and then this other stuff is all new. I'm gonna be a little bit hyped, and so this book is not hyped. Like, it is a request of the reader, basically. They listened, like I feel it with Elsa and Saren too. They really react to what their clients, what their readers, what they ask for. So they made all this effort, and like they are already quite knowledgeable. Like, they don't study this at uni. They studied that. It was their hobby, it was their work, so they've done this work for centuries, and then they put this beautiful together for everybody to find out more. And it's a little bit of a self-study invitation, like just a soft, nice little beautiful invite to get more knowledgeable about all of these traditions. It is also, it's not a biblical text, and it says that in the beginning, and that's why I really like their work, because you can work with it in a profound and historically accurate way, and then it does definitely honor the feminine, which I love. That's why I got those mostly, because I feel it in every word. They are so knowledgeable about goddess lore and appreciation and healing the feminine, holding the feminine, which this word is a little bit neglectful of, but like it's not, yeah. Like I just, yeah, just I feel neglectful. It's not like ignorant to women's needs, but sometimes it is ignorant, but sometimes it's not. And it covers many topics, and I'm gonna read this. This is Ancestral Wise Witches. As soon as I was on the motherland again to be with my mom in her death journey, The doorway into the forgotten women of my ancestral lineage opened. I began to commune with the witches, chantress, cunning fox seers, and medicine women of the British lands. So she says she uses the archetypes and the stories that she knows and the inspiration to find more strength, spiritual perseverance. Those whose many thousand-year-old native feminine wisdom had been burned alive. Which is true because in many households there had not been books, there had not been like, not probably not 1900, but like, yeah, up until 1800 they just lived from woman to woman, neighbor to neighbor maybe. And they had their own tradition how to cure fever or, yeah, open wounds and all. So it is a very inherent and a little bit lost knowledge for sure, because people, they did not write enough down, but also it was just something that had to be done. So I also don't write all my recipes in a book, you know. I think it's just the same. It was time for them to return, they told me, as esteemed and honored ancestors. Of course, the timing was uncanny. We were approaching Samhain, the hallowed eve, when the ways between the were the thinnest and the ancestor witches roamed the land. Yeah. In Australia, like in Europe, there was like herbalism was once forbidden by Calvin, for example. He forbid that. He said that's white magic. Cannot use that, and I think that is cruel. Because why would you not be able to eat all of the goodness from the forest? But it does keep you healthy. It is probably not filling your belly easily, but like that's brutal. It definitely is. This is the image she found for this. That's her imagination, it's her book. It has little words about the motherline. I did a course where my teacher let us draw the motherline, or like, and I did like a butterfly or something, an angel, and to heal it because I feel I have a very broken lineage. Then it's a little bit about her personal journey with her mom. So it's just, if you like their writing, they are your authors. So if you like their writing and you're on this divine feminine path, like after the divine in the feminine, which is also interesting to learn about, what that would even look like, because I did really struggle. I came from psychology with the healthy feminine because I can be overly passive. I can be also passive aggressive. Like, I am not a terrible human, but I also am a mess. And so it is very empowering to view this from an even higher perspective and think about the holy in the everyday as well as the divine in the feminine. And then you kind of understand what role it is that the feminine has to stand for to achieve this mastery. So if you're just having your own life and making a 9 to 5 and you're busy and having a baby and a husband or whatever, you don't need to rise to the level of the queen. That would be a spiritual archetype, or like the priestess. Why would you do that if you're not holding space, if you don't show up in this healing and connective intention? It's not really your kind of business, but it is so nice to hear, because I personally have big mother wounding, sisterhood wounding, and I love hearing about the beautifulness that women brought over the many centuries, thousands of years of human history, and they are goddesses. Like, it does even spark a little bit of forgiveness for the everyday woman, because they struggle and they are triggered, they are unhelped, and they are really also messy. So it's really nice to read about this. And also not only about the mother, because that's a little bit overly for me Catholic, motherhood, familyhood, Catholic. It's like very suppressive and very rigid. So I love looking at the feminine through different lenses And for me, this is like a prayerful moment. Like if I'm not recording, if I just read this book, for example, have a coffee, it's a little bit of easy study time, no pressure, no, I'm not learning it by heart, I'm just listening to a story in my heart, the resonance, and then thinking, and then, yeah, might be in half an hour or so, and then probably continue on because I always think, like, I don't need to, I don't need to sit there and read this all the time, but sometimes it does spark it does spark joy in me, and the flame, this flame to wants to burn down and heal everything that is ill in myself and in my world. And that does help me remember, come back to the healthy ground, the health experience, which I can, that's the space that I can strike beautifully with my Reiki practice, because it's all about this too. And it's also very good mindset and healthy, the way I understand it. Obviously, nobody is perfect, and I feel like women, especially if they are responsible, they get a little bit thrown off the bandwagon because we don't come from cultures that did empower women much. So yeah, it can end really weird. Yeah, so yeah, if they start having a say in a job, it might, like, yeah, um yeah, the bullying that comes from women is more often from men, mostly because they are so hyper in their leadership role that they forget about the human that they are also supposed to be. And also with men, like, they are very suppressive leaders. So I think a good leader is worth $1 million. Like, yeah, I would swim oceans to find good leadership, and I found great leadership courses, management degrees, great people, and I'm not staying with people who don't know how to lead properly. That is not so personal. Like, I feel like it's like childish that they have a power rush from leading a team, because the team just works and gives them whatever they ask for, like the email or the Photoshop or the marketing, or yeah, like, that's just because they get paid. It's not real. They are not the ruler of the ship because somebody gave them employees. But that's the thing. People are weird. Oh, that's cute. Look at it with the earth. Like, the AI made me such beautiful Reiki inspired, but also a little bit of Celtic and rose symbolism art. I love it. I did print some. It's waiting for the new flag to be hung on the wall. The way of love, awakening the feminine soul. So we grew together like to a double cherry, seeming parted, but yet an union in partition. Two lovely berries molded on one stem. William Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream. I hate Jesus when it's only about Mary Magdalene, because they've taken this whole story out of the whole book. And all I wanna talk about is that it was a great marriage, probably, and that's the only thing that was important about them. And, like, my Catholic me is like, what? Jesus as a husband? Like, what the fuck? He healed nations. He held the torch of light so high that we still remember. Like, what are those people? But just a little bit different in here because they mix it so well. And they have so many different also schools, scholars, so teachers that they weave it all together. Like, it's not scientific paper at all. And this one is a little bit more of inspiration. The other one is a little bit more historical, but all of this is also historically accurate, and you can find most of the stuff if you research it, which I like, because I crave more knowledge sometimes, so I know where to and what to work with. And then I appreciate a good book, really do. And like, yeah, I have to say, even sharing it with you guys online, I feel like, hmm, yeah, motivation. And I'm really always now working with the feminine. Once I understood with more like somatics and Taoism, what it is about for me. And then also, I love the stories and the books, the audible books, to learn more and get also the mindset in my head. And I'm learning every day. And I was overly in my masculine in my 20s, which many women are in their life because you don't know really how to care for yourself. Women normally have been married young, so we don't really biologically know how to persevere without marriage, without husband, or yeah, family. Even many of us, like me too, we had to leave our home for better, which is true. It was better. It was not easy. And I did have a boyfriend, but that was also not easy, so it did not really help. And then I just strengthened the masculine in me to persevere, and then took time off and little, like, it was a little bit finding out who I want to be, who I am, because I really felt suppressed in my childhood, 100%. And then did that when I was really full-time studying, full focused. And wow, it was so, so exhausting. My 20s are really exhausting. And yeah, after I learned to listen, and the listening helped find understanding. And like, I am personally not very patient with the feminine. I had to learn that. Like, I want functionality. I don't want emotionality. I hate having a low day when I need a high. So I learned to store energy. So the more I don't overwork, the more I have for days where I need to perform, even though I have a bad period week. It's not always, but sometimes a period is really triggering me, and little even cramping still, even though I work through that a lot. And then I have like this storage that I can use, but then I need to rest more and rejuvenate more, and I learned more about what the feminine can be. And then I was like, yeah, holding space, beautiful, gathering herbs, and just a little bit of this ancestral earth connection. I was like, yes, okay. I did not want to be the makeup little Barbie doll, because I loved being a makeup Barbie doll sometimes, but mostly I was unbothered. And then I did not want to be the mother for everybody, which were the rules that I understood from the culture that I grew up in. And yeah, I've not really been much interested in all of this specific femininity stuff. Like, I'm not a masculine woman at all, but you know what I mean. I was not having it. It was not very interesting for me. So I listened to the old stories again, and I knew some like Baba Jaga. I know her from the movies, and also the witches. I always loved the messiness and the cats in the witch books. I really liked them, and because I have not been allowed to have a messy room, so I felt more free with the witches. I was a funny kid. And then also, I learned to work with the archetypes, which did help me heal from rape. Because I could, even as the personality that was a little bit broken, honestly, learn to rise again and rise higher and feel this spiritual breath again, because my faith struggles when it is like harmed. I'm not very strong in faith. And then I tend to do more passive, tend to be more in the unhealthy habits, which I'm not hugely unhealthy habit person, but because it's like loss of energy and my mind hates that. And yeah, and I learned to make little altars for my topics that are important to me. That's what my Reiki teacher just told me to do. And then I started, and I felt like, wow, this does bring me great shifts. I really resonate. And then we also learned a little bit about the Ockham trees, which did also show me how many ways you can interpret like a spiritual tradition, like energetically, as well as obviously nature connection. And then it is a month calendar. Then I can also find recipes all about the trees for the according times. And yeah, then they also represent personality patterns, and I was like, wow, yeah, I kind of understood something. I'm not always sure what it is exactly, but something that's teaching me something. So I could a little bit heal my wounded faith again with more groundedness and especially feminine teachings, which also the Occam trees around the moon cycle, which is so close to the women feminine menstruation cycle. So it's so relatable, the cyclicalness of life. And yeah, that's that. And then I felt like I knew more what it is to be feminine. I did care for myself, like I really did, especially after my uni time. I had to up the game, and then I did that with nature. I did that with friends who were close to me. Like that was myself form of self care. And then beauty stuff, a little bit of shopping, but like not overly, just a little bit. And then girl movies, which they fill my cup because I love them. I'm serious about this. Like doing my nails, just like looking nice. My mom did not have a life, like because in her time, in her culture, she's not been allowed to be the pretty woman. Like that, and that's something that my generation, my sister, we did not want that, because we wanted the nail polish and the lipstick. My grandma would not allow makeup, like my paternal, like, and I was like, no, no, sometimes. So it is also in me a little bit this block from the feminine flows beautifully. I had to read this in books. Literally remember that um caring for myself, having a nice little dress, a little bit of makeup, beautiful hair. Like I feel like hair is a prettifier. I feel like jewelry is prettifier. I don't need full makeup, but I love a nice lipstick. But it was a journey. Like lipstick and I in the beginning I felt so weird putting on this dark red on my lips because I felt like everybody stares at me. Because in my culture people would not wear it much. Like rarely. And then this is 100% different now. People are freely shopping now, and the mother role has disappeared. Like, yeah, I don't know, but I feel better with it disappearing than being pressured onto everybody. I feel, yeah, I think so. And then, hey, yeah, and that's me. And what else have I learned about the feminine? um Embodiment, like my body is the feminine. That's the easier, because I'm not typically very, I don't have a very feminine mind. Like I think like my teachers. Yeah. So like I understand how women sometimes think and act, but I mostly tried to control, to strive and to achieve, which is a very masculine trait. Because I always was like that. I've seen people not achieve in their life in so many multiple ways what they wanted, that I program myself for achieving what I want, and then reprogrammed what I want actually. But I can strive for what I want and need in my life, so it will like manifest. I've been in a psychology program, and we had a coaching, and she was like, yeah, this is your time, we are gonna, it's the end of the program, we are gonna make this plan for your future. And I was like, I want to be a fairy in the forest, and like I work with herbs. And she was like, oh, okay, then let's write that out. And I was like, oh, I can do that, fine. But I would not take it very serious, and she also wouldn't really take me serious, because she was like about the 9 to 5 and was very strict and rigid about it, which is like a little bit weird, because there's already been people who made money with herbalism, for example. But it did a little bit manifest this way, just adding the relaxation, and then it does make me money. It did manifest because I just had the sparkly joy, the funniness of saying, hey, I'm not gonna be good, I'm not gonna sit in a manager um, role my whole life long. I also wanna work with the herbs. And it is a little bit of the fairy forest herbalism vibes. So little green witch, kitchen witch, whatever. I love just making salves, and I love making it for people. And also I love baking, and I can also use the herbs for that. So I can mix all of just beautiful stuff together. I've been working in a hotel in a kitchen, so I'm not just experimenting. And it is legit work. Like the cake is legit work, as well as the salve is good work. And I have joy with the Reiki inspiration, so the fairy comes in. It did manifest. That's so funny. That's so funny. And I was so depressed at the time. I thought I will never have something that is worth getting up in the morning ever again, because I was so burned out from, yeah, having had no childhood and then full-time study program, and then my first boyfriend was a nightmare in like many ways, especially if you wanna achieve something. He was doing the opposite of helping me, and and it does bridge from me nature, then the craftiness, the cooking, the witchy, also the fairy, because they are different. But this, for me, I'm not strict with those because they are funny, flowy. Books, I know those from books. I don't use the witch or the fairy archetype for meditation, for example, because they don't really help me. They are very egoistic, but I have enough ego. Yes, I'm good. So, and the craftiness, and then the sparkly reikiness, and then also a little bit the healthcare that is very strong in me. Yes, I am a healthcare manager. And but in a not, like I feel good giving people a salve that helps them with like little pains, because I rarely get to do those things, or like holding space, sharing circle, just wherever you're at, no pressure, no, yeah. I would rather have the circle longer than stop them if it's important. So yeah, just because in our relationships, this is a space that is super rare, that you're just heard. People are in relationship with you, they have something to say. It's so nice to sit there and just be heard. And then, yeah, I also witnessed, exactly. I forget about the witnessing because I'm always like, wow. When people, when women share honestly, you really feel it in your bones, and you're like, wow, yeah. Without a privilege, it's still so hard, isn't it? Like, wow. I'm like blown away how poor I am sometimes, because I understand for the eyes of this woman, I understand myself. I see my own suffering, and I know why I need this much off time and recharging, because I'm also struggling. I'm a human. It's not always easy, but I'm grateful, and I have my tools and practice, and they help me, and have a good decent life. I'm not grateful, but yeah. And then I'm also having this freeing experience when I'm in a circle, that I don't need to have an answer, because people put me in this role often, that I need to answer for their problems and their achievements. But yeah, it's just a little bit much pressure. And so I just like being a witness for once, and then just being positive and affirmative. And then I also want to have a WhatsApp group going where people can share regularly more, and not interact and push or whatever. Just I would ask them not to be in an advisory field with that, because that's not the purpose of the women's circle. You know, if they want to connect, obviously it's all up to them. So which people do. Yeah, and yeah, what else did I want to say? And that does ground me back into my cycle awareness, and how I really like to listen to my body early. I've not had a fever in 20 years. It did take a thyroid surgery for me to have fever again. And then it did throw me away. Like I felt like trash for over a month. I had fever on and off. So, yeah, terrible. Yeah, that's how I like it. Thanks, guys, for listening. Bye.